Welcome to my Atari ST nostalgia trip, and this time I look back at a Turbo Cup. It's a racing game, and it's actually the first racing game I'm doing on my channel, and it's based on sports car and Paris-Dakar racer René Metke, or I hope I pronounced his name correct, I'm sorry if I didn't, and his Porsche 944 Turbo. And basically in the game you have to complete a qualifying lap and then you race against 21 other cars on one of 4 French circuits. And as you can see the box art, it said, with this excellent game, I've experienced the same exhilaration if I were actually driving my real Loriciel Porsche. And experience for yourself the thrills of driving this prestigious track and, like me, take the winner's place on the podium. Well, I can tell you the latter is something I never did, because the game is actually quite difficult. I think they tried to sort of put some really realistic simulation parts in it, which also makes me have mixed feelings about this game. So yeah, some really good things about it, some are not so cool, so let's just start it. Yeah, and one of the really cool things about this game is actually this opening tune, which is done really well. So, yeah. I remember playing this game, starting up this game just to listen to the tune, and not even playing it at all. Yeah, we're talking 1988 here, so this was still quite a good thing. But let's just keep loading. I can listen to the tune another time. And of course it's asking for disk B. I'm actually running a cracked version. And as you can hear, I also enabled faster loading in my emulator, so we don't have to wait so long. So you come in the main menu. There's not much of presentation to the game apart from the opening tune. And as you can see, you can choose four well-known French circuits. Although this one is probably not so well-known, but yeah, you can do Paul Ricard, Dijon, Magny-Cours. I think this is also, probably the layout of these circuits is a little bit different. I think this is the easiest one. And if I choose this, what I have to do is I have to do a qualification, and then you're thrown straight into the race. And I'm actually playing it with my keyboard, like using the arrow keys. And I can use the space bar if I chose manual gear shift. And we have a very nice digitized sound effect for the engine. Yeah, with keys it's a little bit easier to play than with the joystick, although said the man who was spinning in the first corner, showing some nice skills there. But yeah, they want to make this game realistic, which means also the car is actually quite difficult to handle. It's not really simulation material in most respects, but because that's mostly, what am I doing? It's also very hard to race and talk at the same time. But you can't just go like full throttle into a corner and get away with it. You will slide out of the corner. If you go too fast in the corner, the car will spin and you will lose a lot of time. And especially in slower corners. If you go in too fast, that's it. You immediately spin off the track and crash. And you just lose so much time. For this one, yeah, I should have braked for this corner. And I didn't. I'm actually doing worse than I did in my test runs, to be honest. In one of my tests I was actually able to qualify 4th on the circuit. Of course, then I ruined everything in the race. And yeah, I think one thing about this game that, see, this is one of the tight corners. I went in too fast and you're just immediately... I'm lucky I didn't crash, which would have cost me even more time. But this game is way more difficult than you expect. Yeah, it looks quite nice, I would say. It's not super good looking. And the frame rate, well, as you can see in the timer, you can actually see all the tenths of seconds. So I guess that means it's running at least 10 frames per second. But yeah, I don't think it's much more than 10, to be honest. This is a horrifying. 112 is not a very good qualifying lap. Yeah, and from this I'm thrown straight into the race. And the race is 2 laps. Oh, I actually qualified 5th. That's better than I expected. But yeah, don't expect me to keep that place. And I actually made quite a good start. But the unforgiving thing about this game is now I'm I should have let go of my throttle because I was touching my opponent from behind, and they seem to be completely unaffected. But actually, yeah, you either go into a spin like I did, or you just immediately you crash, and then you just lose so much time like this. Yeah, I'm ruining my race, and you see now it's just waiting and waiting, and I lost like 3 or 4 positions. I guess normally you would even lose more in case of a crash. But that's part of the game that they made sort of realistic. Also the cars, it's not like they are going crazy much faster than you in the corners without any... Oh, come on! Without any problem. And then on the straight you can easily overtake them, which is many arcade games have. They sort of have the same level of acceleration. I mean, they're the same cars, just a different color. Whoa! That's... I hit him. So you actually have to sort of, yeah, really position yourself well to overtake. Oh, come on! I'm doing really bad now. And I think this is also the frustrating part of the game. For racing itself, there is no setting for easier or hard, or like you can make it a bit more forgiving or unforgiving. It's just this one setting, which makes it, I guess, less welcoming. Ooh, I actually hit the brakes and it's still going wrong. Yeah, and I went from position 5 to 10, so... Yeah, the frame rate is just a bit too low that it's okay to play, but it's very hard to predict. Like, you don't have a sense of speed, so you would really have to learn to look at your speedo and know at which speed you can take the corner. Because your spins and slides are actually... Yeah, from a gameplay point of view, they are just almost impossible to predict. It's just too difficult. Yeah, and my first lap was a 1:23, which is more than 10 seconds slower than my qualifying lap. Oh, come on! And this is the part of the game, yeah, I already start to get annoyed by it. It's... For some reason, yeah, you just slide out of the corners so easily, and it's... And you have to learn the circuit, because there's no circuit map. There's no circuit map in your head of display, so you just have to learn all the corners of the circuit. And then hope you get it right while you're racing, which sort of adds to the more realistic value, to be more realistic to what a racing driver actually experiences, because they do have a map of the circuit in their car, but yeah, they have no time to look at it. But yeah, at the same time, I don't know, I think they should have put more build-up, that you can sort of choose sort of level of expertise. The only difficulty level they really put in is actually the way you change gear. That's mainly the difficulty level setting. This is the easiest one, I'm going automatic. But with the function keys you can actually choose different types of changing gear, which are basically you are on your throttle or your brakes, and if you press the fire button, or in my case the space button with keyboard, you shift up or down, which makes it sort of sequential. Or you can say you have to press keys 1 to 5 to select your gear using the keyboard. And you could even connect a second joystick, where you use one joystick for throttle, brake and steering. And actually, oh come on, this was a good corner and I ruined it in the end. And you use the other one for changing gear, and you could even change the mode that you had to sort of move. Pardon. You had to move the joystick in a realistic way, in like basically the ways you would change the gears, which probably means you have to do it like sort of diagonally and back and forward to go from 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 to 5. I've never tried that, and I actually doubt if anyone ever did, because yeah, it's already so difficult right now, and I'm in doubt whether I should actually have another go, because let's just have another go at Polycar. I suck at this, but yeah, the handling is just a bit difficult, and if the gameplay would have been a little bit more smooth than the 10 frames per second that it's sort of capping at now, it seems, because actually the backgrounds and the environment, they look quite nice. There's quite a lot going on the screen, and oh come on. But it's just now, yeah, and I should have put difficulty levels in, because I just spin all the time, and I guess it just takes a lot of practice. So if you really are into racing games, you want some realism, then this is probably a good game for you to try, because it does take a lot of practice to get the handling of your car right. And I didn't have enough, as you could already see. I think I braked a little bit too much there, although I'm still... Oh no, I was... Okay, I thought I almost braked to a standstill, but I was actually doing like 170 or something, which was still too much for that particular corner. And yeah, there is a sort of a difference between sort of sharp and not so sharp corners, but the difference is actually not that big, and as you can see, it's just, I'm endlessly spinning. And this seems to be... I also watched some videos, and many of them seem to have the same problem. It's just so hard to predict when you are nearing the limit. It's just... You are either on track and steering, or you just immediately slide and spin. And it's very rare that you start sliding and you can sort of... You can still sort of catch your drift and start, yeah, keep continuing in the corner. But, yeah, as you can see in this case, it's just... I think this game is a bit, yeah, when I was a child it was a bit too difficult for me. Now I'm just getting too old. I qualified third. I have no idea how I did that with so many spins. No, they actually got out of my way. That's very friendly. Let's hope he doesn't. And you can see that the guys on top, they actually have like acceleration power like I do. And of course, now they're gone because I spun and another car got by and another car is getting by and he hit me. And luckily for me, I was able to sort of catch it, because as soon as your wheels are on the grass also, if you have any sort of speed, you immediately spin. Which is the same as in a real race, I guess. If you're in a corner, your wheels are in the grass, then you will also tend to lose control. But it's now I'm actually having lots of speed. But, oh no! Oh, come on! Yeah, you can also not see... I think the other cars don't even have brake lights when they brake, so you can't even see that they are braking, which might be a good hint for you to brake for a corner. Maybe they do, maybe I just didn't notice. Oh, come on! Yeah, this gets so annoying. And it's just, I can't see the difference between if I'm doing 100 or 260, it looks exactly the same. And that's because of the low frame rate. And I know it's also lots of limitations that the ST had, that nobody really had to overcome. I mean, if you look at other racing games, many of them have either pretty low frame rates or they just have not going on in the screen. Or they are just, the racing is just not realistic, so it doesn't really matter what you do, you take the corner anyway. And I guess what, oh come on, I made the same mistake again. I went full speed into this corner, which obviously wasn't the right thing to do. So from position 3 I actually... Oh, come on! See, I'm crashing, I lose almost all my speed and the opponent's car is completely unaffected. And that is one part of the game I really don't like. Even also if you hit them from behind, I just spin or crash, lose like tons of time like now. And that guy just drives on. He's not affected, he's not spinning, nothing. And that's the part of the game where you just get angry. I mean, I get angry anyway. It feels so unfair. And it's... Yeah. I don't know the circuit also, so I have no idea if this was a tight corner or not. And again, I had no idea what speed I was going. Yeah, and I'm also wondering if they didn't have digital sound effects like this, because they feel a bit forced, to be honest. How much did they have to deduct from the frame rate of this game to get this digital sound effects in? That makes me kind of curious. Oh, I was just too fast. I let go of the throttle, but I was already too late. Yeah, and it's also hard to think, but in this time, for many people, I guess unless you had like a really good console or a good Amiga, which was basically made for games more than the ST was, we consider this sort of normal. That yeah, any racing game, of course, the frame rate was very low because that's what computers were like then. But yeah, it's also there's no ceremony, there's nothing. You just see the 4 quickest times, and then you go back to the main menu. So yeah, how do I feel about this game now? Yeah, I must admit that very few racing games on the ST were actually really good. There were just a handful of them, I guess, and I can't think of them off the bat, but there were some really good ones. This one feels sort of okay, but also a bit so-so. I mean, I can see what they were trying to do, and I think they only partly succeeded. The gameplay is just a bit too jerky. It could have been a bit smoother, maybe, if they didn't have this forced digital sound effects. And the racing itself, yeah, for the time it's probably quite realistic, except for the crashes with your opponents. But yeah, with a better sense of speeds, any problems you encounter would be easier to predict. And I would have liked that. That would have made the game a lot better for me. Yeah, and I guess with lots of practice this game will get better over time, but it's really hard to get into that vibe because the immediate appeal in this game is a bit lacking. That should have maybe put in the beginner mode to make it more fun, and then you would be motivated to get better at it. Because I remember I played it a few times and then I basically only started it up for the tune and not for playing the game. But let's just remember the great tune, and still this game brought some good memories. I was quite impressed by it at the time, not so much now, but we'll see. Maybe I'll get to some better racing games in the future on my channel. For now, I'd like to say thank you for watching, and I hope to see you next time.